Thank you very much. Thank you. And hello.
Hello, everybody. It's Matthew Street, and welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you being here. And folks, you got to hand it to your viewers. You really do. Your subscribers and your viewers. Because they are the people that make the train run. They are the people that make it tick. They surely do. Because not only do they like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and recommend your channel and support your channel, but boy, they come up with some great ideas sometimes. And I've had many viewers over the years and subscribers say, Matt, why don't you talk about this or try that or see what you think about this? And sometimes you can do them, sometimes you can't, or either for time reasons or otherwise, you can't get to it. But when you can, it's always a pleasure when you can do a video for a viewer on their recommendation. And this one is dedicated to Daniel Hoyos, H-O-Y-O-S. Hello, Daniel. Daniel made a nice comment on my recent video. I hope you saw my most recent video. It's the one about Anthology 2025 with the upcoming release next month. And I was kind of talking about, could it have an impact on all of our lives again? Could it bring in new fans? Will it generate interest? Go check out that video. It's my last one. I really appreciate all of you who saw it. And basically what I was saying was, can it have an impact like in 1995? Or even like Now and Then did a couple of years ago? And I think I kind of came to the conclusion, and most of my viewers did and commenters, that while it will be a great thing next month when the new Anthology 2025 is released, it probably won't have the same musical, social, cultural, pop culture impact that it did 30 years ago. But we can hope that will generate some buzz around it. Well, Daniel Hoyos, my viewer, said, hey, Matt, there's one other little thing you neglected to mention. What about the One album? And I said, you know what? He's absolutely right. I neglected to mention it in my last video. Because along with Now and Then, along with the buzz coming next month for Anthology 2025, and then the last big Beatles cultural event, I think, was probably the Anthology in 1995, Daniel is absolutely right. The One album did create and generate buzz. It brought in new fans when it came out. It brought in younger fans. It created a huge wave of interest and love for the Beatles and their music. And the funny thing is, we're at an anniversary of it. It was released 25 years ago. November 13th in the year 2000, the One album dropped, and it could be, arguably, the most successful Beatles release of all time. Think about it, folks. It created a shockwave back in 2000, coming into 2001. There was so much interest in this album, more so than I think even the record label thought would happen, and most people. People, I think, were stunned and shocked by how much interest and craziness came around the One album. It was absolutely insane. And when it initially came out, it wasn't even on vinyl yet. That came years later. It was a single disc CD, and it blew up with everybody. Universally loved. It has sold, and I'm estimating, but based on numbers I could dig up, help me if you know better, it has sold approximately 32 million plus copies of One. Folks, a band that broke up 55 years ago, 30 years ago, at the time when One came out, the Beatles had been gone 30 years. It's now 55 years, over half a century. And you think about the buzz generated by this band to this day with the upcoming anthology, it's crazy. I believe the One album, again, help me, my viewers and loyal fans out there and subscribers, I believe the One album was the top album of the year 2000. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Beatles came into a new century with a bang and had the top album. That's absolutely unbelievable. Now, there's 27 songs on it. They really jammed them on there. And it got remastered when it came out in 2000, and it debuted at #1. Another numero uno album for the Beatles. Got to give them credit, folks. Got to salute those Beatles. still doing it in the next century, getting #1 albums. Unbelievable. And what happened was years later, I think it was 2015, so about 15 years or so later, one was re-released with One Plus. It was that you could get a DVD set or a Blu-ray set, which included 50 remastered, cleaned up videos of the Beatles, visuals on 2 discs, 50 of them. Unbelievable. Unless you got the smaller single disc version, it was like you got 25 Beatles videos. But on the one most people got, the deluxe one, you got 2 DVDs or 2 Blu-rays with 50 videos, remixed by Giles Martin. All the music and everything was remixed by Giles. And the booklet was beautiful. The set was beautiful. And that re-release created another stir, created tons more sales. Unbelievable. Because you had original fans that loved the One releases. You had second generation fans that loved the One album. You had brand new fans jumping on to the Beatles, the joy of the Beatles, the love of their music. New fans were brought in. Unbelievable. I absolutely love it, what the One album did and how it generated interest in our favorite band. Now, you need to help me here because I've looked at numerous different all-time sales lists and everything, and I can't find like one official listing of where it ranks all time. But from what I could find, and help me here, the One album by the Beatles is one of the best-selling albums of all time with 32 million, as I said. And I think from all the lists I saw and could kind of get an approximation, it's approximately somewhere in the top 20 or so best-selling albums of all time. I think I'm right on that. Help me out if I'm not. Now, again, like with Anthology, like with a lot of other Beatles releases that have come out over the year, the One album made the Beatles cool again, made the Beatles hip again, made the Beatles big time relevant again. The Beatles were now socially acceptable for middle school kids to be big Beatles fans. It made it socially acceptable again for high schoolers and teenagers to be into the Beatles again. It made it big for because if your peers were listening to the Beatles and all behind it and getting into the One album and buying it and what, you could be into it. And it made it easier for those people that were a little nervous about admitting that they were into the Beatles, an older band. It made it acceptable to everybody from all ages. And certainly we as original fans, second generation fans and whatnot, we were ecstatic that the Beatles were getting this kind of attention again. So if you remember back to 2000, if you were around or old enough to remember, there was tons of advertising for the One album in all forms of media, television, radio, magazines, publications, newspapers. It was big time. This was a big shared experience with the One album. Now, it's probably one of the last big ones too, because again, I don't think anything can match the buzz and excitement of Anthology and the 2 new songs, Free as a Bird and Real Love back at the time. But I do think things like the One album, yes. I do think things like the Now and Then track coming out a couple of years ago, and even if you want to say the Get Back special on Disney Plus by Peter Jackson, that did create some buzz. I don't think any of it comes close to the Anthology back 30 years ago. But I will say, I'm glad my viewer Daniel Hoyos did mention the One album because it was a #1 seller worldwide, folks, and it was huge, and it generated all kinds of buzz for the Beatles. So we have to give props and credit where it's due and say, yep, Beatles, you did it again back in the year 2000, 25 years ago, anniversary coming up very soon, the One album. It blew our minds. It knocked people's socks off. It brought in new fans. It reinvigorated the older fans. And to this day, it's probably one of my favorite Beatles compilations. It's that good. And man, my favorite thing is, I didn't pull it out, but I'll show an image of it. When that double album came out several years back, what a beautiful set. Is it a double album or a triple? I don't remember now. It's back here somewhere. You know what? Why not, right? Here it is. What do we got here, Matt? Why can't you remember anything anymore? All right, 4 sides. So there it is. There's my one vinyl, okay? I had to grab it with the hype sticker. This is a fabulous release. I won't open it all up here. I'll show it up here. But it came with 4 great Richard Avedon portrait pictures. It came with a fabulous poster. Just so well done, so classy in its presentation. I'm so happy they issued it on vinyl when they did. So folks, Daniel Hoyos, thank you. I did neglect to mention the one album in my last video, but we're making up for it here, folks. What a gem. What a gem of a Beatles release. A band that keeps on ticking, keeps our heartbeats ticking, keeps our spirit going, our excitement for the music and the love for this band. And next month, Anthology 2025. Get ready. I am. Are you? Bye-bye.
I got blisters on my fingers!